As the coronavirus continues to spread across the state, Maine has seen its first deadly case. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Clay Gordon. Tonight, state police following up on a tip in their search for two men in a Richmond incident. Officers say they could be armed and dangerous. It was just after 7:30 when we got word from the Supreme Court that Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg had passed away from metastatic pancreatic cancer. Now, according to the MITC data, through April, Maine's seafood exports are down 18.6%. It's a drop of more than $14.6 million since the same period last year. There are more than 14,000 cases reported in China, responsible for 304 deaths. We've been hearing from you about how to take care of pets during the COVID-19 pandemic. Brian and Joy, good morning to you. It's day 3 of a massive manhunt here in the small town of Norridgewock. We're seeing large police presence, as you said, from across New England, including, take a look over here, this black cruiser over here. That is actually a canine unit that just came up here from Massachusetts to rotate in with some of the crew we're seeing. Fred and Sarah, this is the site we're seeing across much of the area right now, much of the Charlotte area. Empty power trucks. This lot has close to 100. They're waiting to safely restore electricity to some of the areas that need it most. Hey Adrian, it's so cool. We come down to the city of Atlanta. It's such a big place and there are so many Maine connections. A Maine man is responsible for making sure the field here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium is perfect ahead of the Patriots Rams squaring off in Super Bowl 53.
He's there. Come on, man.
Lee, we are here right now, courtside. This is probably the closest I've ever been to a professional basketball game in my entire life. It's very exciting. We're Game 7. The winner of this game will be advancing to the NBA Finals. The opponent, we don't know yet, but we know one of these two teams will be advancing. Experts recommend getting your car washed after every winter storm or every 10 days. For one family, this bike will never be missed, as much as the cyclists who rode on it. The Maine DOT uses more than 1.5 million of these glass beads and over 250,000 gallons of paint per year across the state, going out of their way so you could be on your way. I'm Clay Gordon, News Center, Maine. Here in Maine, hundreds of protesters made sure their voices were heard this afternoon as they walked Portland city streets and chanted Black Lives Matter. Here's the latest.
We tired.
Gonna keep on going unless someone does something about it.
Racism is everywhere.
Protesters in Portland fighting for justice.
We want something in the police department that will ensure that nothing like this happens again.
For a man
Tired of getting killed by police for no reason.
they most likely have never met.
Some incidents aren't recorded, so we need all cops to be held accountable for their actions.
Just someone has to release the footage for everyone to get mad, or for people to see what's actually happening, or for people to actually wake up and come to their senses and actually realize that this happens every day and everywhere.
Of course it can happen in Maine.
For those that think this could never happen here,
Just because it's, majority white people does not mean that you guys cannot stand up for us and be with us and be there with us and support us and learn about it and educate your friends and families about it. I'm sorry I'm getting so emotional, but it is painful and you just get numb to it.
the gunfire happened just before 3 a.m. in the area of Walnut Street and Pierce Street. We spoke with one woman who was caught in the middle of all of it.
There were some gentlemen out in the streets arguing, 3 loud pops, and then it sounded like fireworks opened up.
A fight turning into a shootout. Xana LeBrun was woken up to gunfire right outside of her apartment. So this is your bedroom?
This one here, and this is my daughter's room here.
So this is your daughter's room?
Yes.
And that's a bullet hole right in between?
Yes, sir. At least 40 to 50 shots fired, and people scattering and running everywhere, and then a lot of police.
Police swarming the scene, guns drawn after some of the suspects were sheltering inside this apartment building on Walnut Street. 2 people surrendered and came out of the building. Others, trying to check on family inside, were taken into custody for trying to get past police. Hours later, tactical officers were seen evacuating families with young children. Even after the standoff was resolved, the investigation is now only beginning.
I hope you get well soon Mom, can you pour this? It's still blue.
Aaliyah and Ayla
I'm pressing my hand down
writing a letter
because I want the paint to show up.
to a father.
I wish you well, officer.
This father is also a police officer. The reason they even wrote the letter
Because police officers keep us safe
will melt your heart.
and we don't want them to die.
A sobering statement from a 7-year-old. The Band-Aid, colored with the thin blue line flag, was meant to make Officer Timothy Hinton feel better.
So we need to share it, whatever it is.
But what was sent back will probably make you feel better too.
Thank you for supporting our dad and hope you like necklaces we made you.
Not only did Aaliyah and Ayla like the necklaces, they wore them to school the very next day.
What is it?
We get a pet.
These girls will always be able to hold on to these patches and stickers. And Officer Hinton's children will be able to hold on to their dad. I just couldn't believe that 2 girls from Brewer, who I've never met, would do such a thoughtful thing, wrote Officer Hinton. Often those who serve don't realize how much they do for us. And an innocent, handwritten get well soon card reminds them why they do what they do.
As my wounds are healing very well.
Even if it means standing in harm's way.
I'm planning on having this card on my locker at work when I return.
A note written by 2 sisters
Thank you, Timothy.
with the support from an entire community. In Brewer, Clay Gordon,
Yes, I love the thin blue line Band-Aid.
News Center, Maine. Every 10 feet,
Roughly 16,000 lane miles of paint on the roads.
and about 10 miles an hour.
That we are moving slow. So you have a gunner that sits back here. They apply the paint. Then you have a driver that's actually steering the truck to keep it online.
Online with a laser, and on turns, a mirror. 7 striping crews spread out between Augusta, Turner, and Bangor, laying down the line.
1,500 gallons of paint a day, anywhere from 4,500 to 6,000 pounds of beads a day.
Beads of glass embedded in the road, completely safe to drive over.
We add that on top.
You wouldn't want to get it in your eyes, but you can hold it in your hand, you can move it around, doesn't cut you. It's 80% round, and that's what allows the light to return back to you when your headlights are hitting it at night.
Safer for you, and they ask you make it safer for them.
And we ask the public for patience. We're always looking to make it as safe for them, but we don't want them to get into the paint and get it on their cars and track and all that.
We only tagged along for about 16 miles, and 2 vehicles couldn't wait for crews to pull over, which they do frequently to help traffic flow. This car was passing while they were painting, leaving their mark until next year.
Because I don't want to get that phone call that somebody got hurt, and I don't want to get the phone call that the public got hurt because they didn't know we were there. But I'd love to be able to give them the number of everybody that made it home at night because of what they do, because they are awesome at what they do.
The Maine DOT uses more than 1.5 million of these glass beads and over 250,000 gallons of paint per year across the state, going out of their way so you could be on your way. I'm Clay Gordon, News Center, Maine.